Good morning, everybody and anybody. I got into riding a bit late in life. Not too late, but I was probably about 25, 26 when I started riding. And, you know, some people, they want to get into it earlier than that, and that's cool. You know, around the age of 16 or so, 16, 15, 16, 17, the question can arise, should you drive a car before you ride a motorcycle? So I had to give that a little bit of thought, and so this is kind of my take on that. And bear with me here, because I'm going to kind of go way off in left field here, and then I will come right back and I will have a point. I promise. So first thing that I'd like to point out is the human brain. I'm not a scientist. I don't know everything about the human brain, and I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to try to explain it in full detail, but I can explain it a little bit to the way that I understand it. The way that the human brain works when you're learning to do something, whether it be reaching out and grabbing something from when you're an infant to maybe learning how to juggle, the brain works the same way. Every time that you do something or you think about something, your brain makes a connection, a neurological connection. I don't know if that's what it's actually called. Don't you? Yeah. And every time your brain makes a connection, it gets stronger. And that is why practice makes perfect, because that is just the way that the brain processes information, stores information, and gets good at things. And that in turn transfers it to your body and blah, 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 blah. What I'm trying to say is the road in which we drive on, whether it be a motorcycle or a car, is a new environment to anybody who hasn't interacted with that environment. Now, educating yourself will give you a little bit of a head start, but somebody who's never driven on the road is not going to have those things formed in their mind, those connections formed in their mind. Now, I'm not saying that a person can't be just kind of inherently good at driving. There are people like that. There are people that are inherently bad at driving. And you'll have to think about that for yourself. But what I'm trying to say, I'm way up in left field. I'm coming back, I promise. What I'm trying to say is that you have to, it's a good idea to spend some time in this new environment to strengthen those little connections in the human brain. And think about it this way. Imagine that you're playing a game, or like a video game, or you're playing a sport, or you're learning how to, like, maybe juggle. Juggling, I think, is a pretty good example. When you started, you were very good at it. And it's not because you didn't know how it worked. It wasn't that at all. You understood the rules of the game. You understood what does what and how it does it. But it took time to get those things to sink in. And so eventually you got better at that game or sport or at juggling. Why? Some of it might be because you got maybe stronger, but the key is mentally stronger because your brain made that connection. It's a lot like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. If you don't use it, it gets weaker. That's what makes it possible to form new habits and break old habits, and that's the exact same reason why it's hard to break old habits and form new habits, because of the strength of those pathways in your brain. You may understand the rules of the road, and that is a big part of it, but that's not all of it. To learn to react to this environment. This environment is very foreign to somebody who has not interacted with it. This is an interacting environment. I'm trying to do this on a road where I don't have stop signs and you know, stop lights and a lot of things I have to pay attention to because I'm trying to talk. Being in a new environment and reacting to that environment and not just two, but in synchronization. I don't know if that's a good word for it. Actually interacting with it and being part of that environment instead of just sitting in a passenger seat somewhere. It's going to take time, just like playing that video game or becoming better at that sport or juggling. So give this some thought. If you were maybe you already know how to juggle. Maybe maybe you'd like to learn how to juggle. But consider this example. If you were going to learn how to juggle, would you start with juggling knives? Probably not. Why? People juggle knives all the time. People juggle chainsaws all the time. People juggle flaming torches all the time. Why wouldn't you just start juggling flaming torches and chainsaws and knives? Because it's dangerous. And no matter how good at juggling you might be, the danger is still there. And it's very similar to riding a motorcycle. No matter how good of a rider you are, the danger is still there. But through practice and trial and error, or whatever you want to call it, a person gets good at it. And those risks likewise go down. So all that being said, driving before you ride, I feel personally, now this is just my own opinion, you can take it or leave it. This is just my opinion. I feel like everybody's going to make a mistake when they start driving or riding. And I feel like having a metal cage around you, being in a car, is a much better place to make that mistake. There's a little saying, and I don't know if I can quote it exactly. I'll put it up on the screen if I can look it up later. But it says something like, motorcycles aren't in and itself inherently dangerous. They are, however, very unforgiving to inattention, ignorance. What's the last one? Ignorance. Something and stupidity or something. Now, I'm not saying that if you make a mistake on a bike that you're stupid or that you're ignorant or you weren't paying attention. Those all will cause accidents, but even doing the very best that you can and being as smart as you are or may be, you can still make a mistake like that. And when you do, I feel like it would be a smart idea to minimize the damages. So this is my suggestion that I only ask you to consider, is to drive a car first. Be in a cage first. And get used to the environment, to interacting with the environment. And you'll learn to do these kinds of things second nature. And then after you've become more in tune with interacting with the environment, go ride a motorcycle. And that's probably not what you want to hear. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. But I really truly feel like that's a better decision. And I think that if you were to think about that and be honest with yourself, I think you'd come to the same conclusion. So, I'm not the only one with an opinion. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. I mean, should a person ride before they drive, or drive before they ride? I feel like I've got a fairly valid argument here. And I believe in keeping the roads safe. I believe in keeping people safe. You don't have to take my opinion. I will only ask that you consider it. And that's it. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you next time. Bye.